Lost my mind, now I'm feeling so fine, cause I finally realized I don't need you. I'm feeling sublime, and you're watching me shine, and you realize it's time I don't need you. Now
I am great. I look forward to doing this podcast with you every week, so I'm really excited. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I mean, it's been a great week. Had a few challenges, but definitely met my goals today. So I am in a great space. How was your week?
Yay.
How did adding workout time come to that work?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. I have a less embarrassing response this week. Um, I think that adjusting my perspective from it needing to be the gym to movement was really helpful for me because right now mom life is just it's just dynamic, and I need to have goals that are dynamic as well. So I was able to do some Zumba with YouTube University, and I even incorporated movement into the things that I was doing with my kids. So we walked for like 30 minutes to an hour. They were confused. They didn't understand what was going on because we live, where everyone drives. I'm from the city, so I'm used to it, but they were like, "You're not gonna pick me up?" No. So, like I said, adjusting that perspective from it needs to be the gym, you need to go show up, bring those kids, and all that stuff to movement was really helpful because I can move. I can figure out some way to move, and I ended up doing that at least about 3 times this week. So that's a big improvement from zero. But what about you?
That's good to hear. My workout has been going downhill. But today was gorgeous. Like we had a couple of gorgeous days. I definitely got out. I got my steps in and things like
Hmm.
that. Um, I went on YouTube University and I found a dance workout to do, but I haven't done it
Hmm.
yet. So maybe I'll do it tonight
Hmm.
before. Because I wanted to like incorporate, like I like to dance, but I'm getting away from like going to the bar and all that stuff. So I'm like, I
Hmm.
can do my dancing in the house and help me lose some weight.
Hmm. And
So,
it's fun. Like the
and it's
more,
fun.
the activity can be fun, the less you feel like I don't really want to do
Do it.
it.
Exactly, exactly. So, um, the uh the task that I added was supposed to be working out and meditation. I've had no problem meditation. Meditation, it's calming. So it's almost like I want to meditate more and more and more. I haven't had a problem adding that because it's just so calming and soothing and peaceful, and it's just an extra way to, have my peace. So that was great. What method did you implement this past week to help your discipline towards your goals?
Well, I kind of had two goals, which were really interesting. The first one was the movement, and that resulted in accountability that I did not want, but I was grateful for because it's just I put it in my calendar, and then people were like, "So it's 4:30. Did your alarm go off?" And people telling me what my calendar says. I'm like, I didn't tell you to to have you check on me. And so that's been kind of fun, like seeing the community evolve around our podcast where people listen to our goals and then ask us about them. Like I heard last week you said blah blah blah. Um, I'm like, you were
Oh,
listening. Um, and so that's been one thing. I think accountability, because we can lie to ourselves and let ourselves down, and it's not hard to do. But when you have other people that are checking in on you, it just provides that it's like shining a light on your goal in a way that you can't ignore it, and you have to answer for it. So that was good. along with having it show up on my schedule. And the last thing is self-care was something I wanted to try to do because it's easy to neglect. And so this is the proof of my self-care.
Okay.
And, and I went out with a girlfriend. So again, that was unexpected accountability, but it was so helpful for me because I will be on the phone checking on the littles the whole time. But it was helpful for me to just have a girlfriend to do that with, and just focus on being a woman and all that is womanhood, and not wearing the mom hat and all the other hats that I wear. So yes. What about you?
Well, this week I made a additional checklist. I'm a checklist crazy person. And I have a to-do list of things that I should do every day, or things that I can do to make the day progressive, not necessarily things that have to be done. Being that I have so many different businesses or so many different projects going on, I decided to put one thing on the list for the week that has to be done. Um, to push me a little bit more, drive me a little bit more. Not to say that I necessarily needed it, but I just want to like track my progress a little more. So that's helped. It helps me also not zone in on one thing, because I tend to zone in. For example, our podcast, the audio is ready for the next month. That's because I was zoned in and
Mhm.
I couldn't stop.
Mhm.
So being that I I have that kind of obsessive personality a little bit, I was like, okay, Brooke, you have to you have to spread your time out. Like for instance, I have ads running for B Marie. I have things running for Heaven Sent. I don't have anything running for Blaine Car Associates. It's tax season. Um, I am busy as heck. So not to say that I need any more clients, but I'm always willing to assist more clients. So like I should be running ads for that, especially during this time of year. So things like that. So that's why I decided to implement that list. It's worked. It's actually worked. It's made me spread myself a little bit more and say, okay, you finished your goal for this. You can come back and do more work, but let's go finish our goal for this other project going on, because there's so many different
Mhm.
projects. Um, so I like that. I love doing this podcast because it really does give me accountability that I might have not had before. And then some of my friends are checking up, like, "Hey, Brooke, what you doing? You got this going on? What did you do to our show for kids? When is show for kids going to open, or when is this, or when is your book coming out? When is your class opening up? I want to make sure I get a spot." Things like that. So accountability, and having that support system around you is wonderful. Like people don't even understand how much that really means to me. And to also show that you care, about me and what I have going on. So um I love that. I really, really do. One of the things, we're going to get into the topic of this episode, and one of the things that you said in episode 3 was you have to win the battle in your mind too. And I like this because there are so many things we can do. There are so many things we can aspire to do. But if we don't first defeat what's going on in our mind, or we have negative energies in our mind saying that we can't do something, then guess what? You can't do it. Period. And that's with everything. You can have a lot of stuff going on, but if there's still a little battle going on in the back of your mind, that's going to deter or delay the things that you're working towards. So today I wanted to talk about mental health. And mental health, yes, mental health as far as, yes, speaking to therapists and things like that, but also mental health as far as what are you doing to to strengthen your mental? What are you doing to strengthen your focus? What are you doing to keep negative energies and negative things out? Last week we talked about environment, and environment is another thing that helps you win the battle in your mind. If you have a negative environment, then a lot of times it does start to suck in that kind of negativity. I had a conversation with somebody this week, and I was telling them about something that was going on, and you know, they had all the things to say, and then at the end they totally switched all that they were saying. And I had to ask the person, like, do you hear yourself? Because we can want, like, you can want things to be a certain way, right? But at the end of the day, you have to make a decision that this is what it's going to be, or this is what I'm going to do. You can't flux. When you flux, that's when things go to the wayside, or that's when things don't become priority as much. So this is why I want to discuss today mental health around us winning the battle in our minds. What do you think about that, Imani?
Yeah, I think it's so huge. We talk about how in life it's hard to remember things that are important because they're drowned out by so many other things that are more in your face or seemingly more urgent. The things that you have alarms for, the work that you have a schedule for, the people that are the loudest, which for moms tends to be children and people we're in a relationship with and family and friends. So with all the noise, it's really hard to focus on the more quiet but just as important areas of our lives. And mental health is one of those things. So it's possible to go sometimes years without ever checking in with yourself to see, okay, last quarter or in the last 6 months, you experience loss in these areas, or you experience trauma in these areas. And if you look back over your life, you could say very easily, like, oh, wow, I never really sat with that and addressed that or even dove any deeper into that because we're superwomen, and we know that life goes on, bills need to get paid, work needs to get done, kids need to get fed. So it's so easy to just kind of, I view it as a boxing ring, but you're just taking blows and you just keep going because that's what's expected of you. But I think this episode is really about giving yourselves permission to pause, to get help if you need it, unapologetically, and to really inspect yourself because, there's nothing worse than giving your best while you're bleeding out, silently, and nobody knows, and you haven't checked in with yourself, so you don't even know what's going on. And this is just a mental picture of what so many people, myself included, can experience if we're not careful. So one of the things that we talked about early on was journaling, and we talked about the importance of our goals, but checking in with how you are emotionally, and if you're not okay, that's okay, and explore that without feeling like, well, am I less of a woman if aspects of womanhood or motherhood bother me? Or am I less of a good employee if I have to take off because my child is sick? Or am I less of a good partner in a relationship if I have trauma or difficulty? Like, these are things that it's easy to just speed past. But I encourage everybody who listens to sit with those things because it's just a silent killer. It can lead to a breakdown in the middle of the day at work and you don't even see it coming. And I'll close with this principle that I learned a really long time ago, and it's called the pile on principle, which I think we've all experienced. So it's the theory that when you have that midday breakdown, for example, it's not because someone stole your stapler at work or wherever it was. It was because you had a series of events, and it could be anything from like a child wasn't listening on Monday, and then Tuesday a family member said something wrong to you, and then Wednesday, you know, you locked your keys in the car, and these are things that you're pushing through, right? You're doing what you're supposed to do, focused, you know, driven, yeah, strong. And then Friday, ooh, you go to work, you can't find your stapler. Oh man, you're like, oh, my stapler. And you just blow up. People are like, this girl has lost it. But it's the pile on, it's the pile on principle that like events that go uninspected and unweighed and unfiltered through proper perspective, they will pile up. And it's an automatic thing. You don't have to do anything to make it happen. It's going to happen. So, you know, I think we all can relate to that, where you just blow up on someone. You know, where that come from? But it was coming. Okay, it's been coming for a while. But what's your take on that?
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, there have been times that I flipped, and I flipped because I was already done. I had been done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the toothpick broke. You see what I'm saying? Like it was like something like that was nothing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm gonna kill somebody. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Basically.
toothpick broke. You know what I mean? They like, oh
That's
my
right.
God.
Mm-hmm.
He is flipping out because the toothpick broke. But it's like
Mm-hmm.
that's what we do. You know what I mean? And another reason why that we decided to talk about this week is because I believe, just like you, I am the strong friend. I tend to be the strong friend, and I wouldn't be surprised if in a lot of your circles you're the strong friend too. You know, and sometimes our friends don't know how to support us because we're the strong friend. They're used to us having it together and everything is great, and because we don't show any, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh well, she's good. We're hustles regardless of what, you know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes my hustle is to ignore what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and it's not a healthy thing to do. It's really not. Like you said, you need to sit with it. You need to deal with it. When you don't deal with it, then it can turn into something else, you know? And I started today. I was one of the things I did was I was looking at my websites, and I haven't been blogging. So I wanted to start blogging more because I haven't been that much. And I went back and I looked at the day that I had the most visits to my website. And it was after a blog that I posted on relocation. And it pretty much was a 2-part blog. It even says to be continued. So I started writing the blog again. Well, guess what? I had to stop. I had to literally stop because I started going through what I went through the last 4 years. And I am very grateful for where I am today. But I have not sat down and really went through step by step everything that happened. So much was such a blur. Some of it was good. A lot of it was bad. It was just very trying times. And I had to stop because I was like, whoa, you haven't addressed this stuff. You have addressed it, but you haven't addressed it. You know, and honestly, I look forward to finishing that blog. That actually might really be the start of the next book. Because I want to go through it. You know, I want to go through it. I want to relive it, but in a positive way, because one of the sayings that I always say is, I don't regret my past and I don't regret the things I go through because it makes me who I am today. It shapes the person that I am. It shapes why I think the way I think, I love the way I love, and I feel the way I feel. And if I didn't go through those experiences, whether they're positive or negative, I wouldn't be who I am today. So I always appreciate the things that I go through, but you do have to address them, you know. I'm going to go to our phenomenal woman of the week. So our phenomenal woman of the week, unfortunately, is another person who has passed on, and we will start talking about people who are here and give them their flowers while they're here. But we wanted to talk about this young lady. Young lady because she was Miss USA, Cheslie Kryst. And she passed away a couple weeks ago. From, they say that she jumped from a 60-story building. It's like she was up high on one of the floors. She jumped toward death. Now we don't know what happened. We don't know why. Nobody knows why. We hope that they will figure it out, but we wanted to talk about mental health because this woman was a graduate. She was a lawyer before she was Miss USA. Well, Miss North Carolina and Miss USA. She was a lawyer. She when she was a lawyer, she dedicated herself to the community. So this was and could possibly have been the strong friend in the circle. This could have been the person that people are looking up to. A lot of times when people look at their friends, or, oh, she made it out the hood, or she left, she left and she's doing something better than everybody else. It's not about that. A lot of times those people that actually left and are doing something else are trying so hard to improve where they are in life, or where they or to go where they want to go in life. It is hard. And that's why I spoke about the blog that I wrote, because in that blog I said specifically, people were like, Brooke, I'm so proud of you. You left out of town. Girl, I want to be like you when I grow up. Girl, and I'm looking at them like, if you only knew all the hurdles that I'm jumping, all the crap that I'm dealing, you know what I mean? All the struggles that I'm facing on a day-to-day basis. Like, if you only knew, you know what I mean? It's not as pretty as it always looks. And I would love for us to start having transparent conversations, instead of these facade conversations. They don't get you anywhere. They don't. We can have a conversation about what we want to do or what we want to be and stuff like that. But those real conversations are how do you feel today? I ask people that all the time. Everybody's like, why do you ask how do you feel today? Because it matters how you feel. If you feel like, I was reading something and they said, if you stub your toe at the end of the bed in the morning and you're like, this is going to be a bad day. And then things start going downhill the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. Because in your mind, you've decided that things are going to go downhill for the rest of the day. So guess what they do? They go downhill. So I wanted to honor Cheslie Corinne Kryst for the great woman that she was and all the things that she did. And I wanted to speak about her because mental health matters and we need to always check on our strong friends. Do you want to tell us more about Cheslie Kryst, Imani?
Yeah, I unfortunately hadn't heard of her until her passing, and One of the things I like to do might be an odd obsession, but one of my favorite things to do when I do learn of someone, especially if they've just passed, is I like to look at what they were doing just before. Like, what were they doing? Where was their mind at? What were they sharing with the world? What were they preparing for? And I saw that she had so many speaking engagements that she was promoting, and there were so many things that she was working on and campaigns she was a part of, and tweets and posts that she was encouraging other people, and and um, I just think about the weight of promise and potential on our lives, where, for someone to reach um, the heights that she reached at such a young age, I can imagine the pressure of everyone saying, well, what now? Like, what are you going to do now? What great thing are you about to get into? And, um, we can't speak for where her mind was at, but it just made me think about how um, people who are considered your strong friends might give off this like impenetrable aura around us, where it's like, I just exude confidence. I just exude that I'm doing well. And I do think that for all of our strong friends out there, we need to make sure that we find our person, or we find our people where you can take the cape off, take off the armor, take off all that exterior, and say, I'm really broken right now. So I think that every strong friend out there needs to make sure that they have a place or multiple places, because the weight of your life is a lot for one person. So, spread it out a little bit, but seriously have that place where you can be, naked emotionally and say, I'm feeling weak, I'm feeling vulnerable, I don't think I can do it today. Like, have that space, because we need it. But for those who are constantly relying on their strong friend, they call them for advice, and if you're going through something, or if you feel like you're going to blow, this is the person that you call. Um, I heard this great question one day that I try to use when I remember, which is, do you have the space to, um, do you have the space and the capacity right now for me to dump onto you? For me to dump my emotions onto you. Like, that's a question that you should ask your strong friend. Hey, I'm calling because I have a situation. Do you have the space? Is there anything going on in your world where maybe this is better at another time? Because like we've talked about, sometimes you'll call a strong friend because you know that they'll be there for you, and completely miss the opportunity to be there for them. You have no idea what they're going through. So, I think that, like, strong friends need friends as well. Strong friends need other strong friends as well. So if you have a friend that you really admire and they're always there for you, think about how you can serve them, how this can be a reciprocal friendship, how you can maybe walk through some self-development so that you can become stronger too. Like, it's not, like, a strong friend is not an ambulance meant to just always carry you over the hump. Like, at some point, all of our other friends, you gotta work some things out, maybe practice working some things out without calling the strong friend, and then just let the strong friend know how it went, Because sometimes people try to use people that they admire as a replacement for serious help that they need, where it's like, yes, I'm here for you, but also, have you spoken to a therapist, or have you, like, have you explored your other options that professionals who do this for a living can help you on a week by week basis. Sometimes we have some chemistry that is just out of whack, that medicine could help, or other remedies could help. And sometimes, as a friend of somebody who you deeply admire, you rely on them. Um, Sometimes the best way we can show love to somebody who is strong and is confident is by saying, I know that you have the ability to help me, but I'm going to show that I care for your mental health by taking care of as much of my own as I can, and I think, we see the same thing with our kids as parents. We want to be there for them. We want to do everything for them. We want to give them everything they want, help them become all they want to be. But when your kid says, I made breakfast, I tied my shoe, I made your breakfast, you're like, here, take my wallet, because you're showing me that I'm there for you, but you're showing me that you're capable, and that some of what we're talking about and what I'm teaching you is rubbing off on you, which is the goal of your friendship. Not that you would suck the life out of me, but that you would like take all of these things and in turn hopefully become stronger as well. So now we're bouncing ideas off of each other. We become more and more on the same level as far as our strength and our capacity to withstand life and the challenges.
God got me, plant his seeds, let me breathe, cause I need him. Stay faithful, not hateful, I'm playful, cause he got me. He called me his angel, I'm flying to heaven.